Hello and welcome. My name is Susie West and I am the CEO at Shared Services Link. And today I am interviewing Bruce Hanavan, who is the founder and president of Direct Commerce, and his colleague Billy Williams, who is the Chief Technology Officer of Direct Commerce. So today we are talking specifically about the Home Depot story. So welcome, Bruce and Billy.
Good morning, Susie. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you, Susie.
So fascinating story at Home Depot, and I know that our listeners will be intrigued to find out more about what this huge $78 billion company has been doing with direct commerce. So one thing that I've heard about this case study is that they have been very successful in eliminating 5 million pieces of paper associated with the accounts payable process with direct commerce solutions. So Bruce, if I can start with you, could you walk us through exactly how this happened?
Sure, that's a great question, Susie. So when we arrived at the Home Depot about 4 years ago, we went down into the basement and they literally had giant rolling bins full of paper. These were paper dispute packages. And at the Home Depot, they had a process where suppliers had to submit disputes for any short payments that were made against invoices. And they had to provide lots of supporting documentation and other documents. And all in all, those were adding up to about 5 million pieces of paper a year. And this manual process required teams in India. They had teams in the United States. They also had systems in the United States and systems in India. And despite many years of putting these teams and systems in place, the process was still expensive and inefficient. And Direct Commerce came in, and we implemented our workflow solution, our dispute resolution processes, and within 6 months, we'd eliminated all of these disputes and automated the entire process.
Sounds great. And Billy, maybe you can just expand on the term eliminating. So when we talk about eliminating paper, what do you at Direct Commerce mean by that, and how do you achieve it?
Sure. Thanks for the question, Susie. Okay, so when we started at the Home Depot, we started small and we focused on the dispute resolution process, in which the Home Depot received these millions of pieces of paper every year that were going into the basement at the Home Depot. So we reached out to the suppliers, did a comprehensive vendor rollout campaign. We contacted and followed up with every supplier. But the key is that we started small. We started with the dispute resolution process, and over time, we added additional modules like electronic invoicing, self-service. We added Canadian suppliers. Finally, we added our dynamic discounting module, which at the end of the day ends up saving the Home Depot many millions of dollars every year.
Small isn't small in terms of volume, but it was a focused, concentrated win at the Home Depot, which was very important structurally. It allowed them to get a win and then to move on and then have additional wins in these other areas that Billy's identified.
So, Bruce, that's a really good point, because that sounds like starting small was a really solid approach for them and perhaps one of the critical success factors. Could you explain what starting small actually means, Bruce, and also maybe just describe some of the other critical success factors for this successful program?
Sure, absolutely. And yeah, that small didn't mean small in volume, because as we mentioned, there were millions of pieces of paper and a lot of people involved in the process. But I think small means focused. We were sort of highly focused on automating this one process first, and it had been a process that had been a nagging issue for a number of years, for which they'd attempted various resolutions, none of which had completely solved the problem. And so by going to a third party like Direct Commerce, we focus on these sorts of things. We tailored the program to the Home Depot, which is very important. It's not a cookie-cutter, one-size-fits-all, but we tailored the technology and the program to match their exact processes. And the end result was elimination of 100% of the paper.
So that sounds very encouraging. Billy, could you just maybe walk us through the timeline for implementing this program?
Absolutely. So our initial software implementation took about 3 months. That's for our configuration and testing processes to make sure everything is correct. Then after that initial 3-month process, it took us about 6 to 9 months to roll out all of the Home Depot suppliers onto the portal. And then in successive years, we rolled out additional modules like our electronic invoicing, self-service, and dynamic discounting modules to the same set of suppliers who have already been using this portal.
That's great. Billy and Bruce, many thanks indeed. And please do join me next week for the second chapter in this series where we're looking at legacy to SAP and e-invoicing. So join me then. Thank you and goodbye.